Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host, Joe Chill and Love. Here with another edition of Sports Overview Topics. This for episode 136. Got a bunch to go over on the podcast today, including Tom Brady, Sean Payton, demeco Ryans, all the new coaching hires so far, as Kellen Moore. Also, first thoughts on the Super Bowl, the Andy Reid Bowl, the Kelsey Bowl between Travis Kelsey, Jason Kelsey. But give my thoughts on that. Also, Ryan Bader versus Fedor Emelianenko Part 2 is Saturday for Bellator. So, got some stuff to go over to end the podcast. But before, thank you for joining me. Of course, if you're new to the podcast and you want to see more sports-related videos, sports overview topics, find them on the homepage. Click the subscription there in the corner. AJO2 and Love. Access to all my videos on the channel. Pretty simple. Click, subscribe. There you go. But one sec before. So we don't get any interruptions. There we go. But nonetheless, crap, my picture for some reason is now a bit blurry on camera. Shoot. Shoot. Oh. Okay. There we go. Okay. Now it's good. Not sure why the camera's being blurry, but all good. Yeah, so nonetheless, let's get started with the episode now, shall we? So, first off, the NFC and AFC championships are now over. We are now down to two. The Chiefs of the AFC and the NFC, the Philadelphia Eagles. So, down to two. So, I think for the most part, the AFC Championship went the way people expected. Pretty much. 23-20, although it was a little less, a little low scoring than what people had hoped. As far as the NFC side, went completely off the rails, and with the QB situation that happened in San Fran, no surprise. I think the AFC Championship looked more like what we thought 49ers and Eagles was going to go. When you look at a score, if I'm being honest. I mean, we probably thought maybe like 30-27 or 28-24, something like that for the AFC title game, but start with the AFC Championship, because that was the first thing I went. 31-7, Not a lot to get into, but you know, definitely disappointing. You know, unless you're an Eagles fan or an Eagles player. And yep. Oh, jeez. Okay, now it's. Okay. Now it's clear again. Anyway, so 31-7. Eagles took the reins over the 49ers. You know, first of all, I think we all know that Devontae Smith catch on fourth down was clearly incomplete. And, you know, led to their first touchdown of the game. Instead of being turnover on downs, which obviously would have been momentum for the 49ers, but nonetheless, that happened, and history is here. So, yeah, didn't go the way we expect. I think we expected two Titans clash because both teams have really good rosters and really good in the trenches. This was a game that was going to be decided by the trenches, and ultimately it was the Eagles' pass rush, you know, affecting QBs and basically getting done, and their O-line did job as well. And Hurts did his job, Sanders did his job. That running game just brutal, and they certainly got it done. Now, I think we can safely say that if Purdy was healthy and Jimmy G was, or I should say, or if Jimmy G was healthy, they probably would have scored 20 points. I think that's safe to say. Because they were hanging in there for a while. But eventually the dam broke for the 49ers. And that's a shame. But I mean, when you think about it, if they had challenged that play, it would have been incomplete. A touchdown would have been taken off the board. You know, okay. You know, 24-14 or 24-17, 24-20. I mean, would definitely look far different, I think. I mean, the Eagles would have probably still won, but yeah. And the penalties, and I'll get to more in a little bit, but yeah, the Eagles certainly got it done. And they will advance their first or their second Super Bowl since winning it all 5 years ago, and look to do it again for Eagles Nation, or Fly Eagles Fly. Bengals Chiefs. Chiefs got it done. Patrick Mahomes, he less than 100%. Patrick Mahomes narrowed past the Cincinnati Bengals without John Williams, without Alex Kappa. Chris Jones was key for this game, and he certainly got it done. you know, what more could you say? They narrowed pass and they got the late field goal. Adversity for both sides. Thought for a sec this could be first time we see the new overtime rules. That was not the case. Chiefs got it done. So kudos to them. So I'll get this out of the way because it's obviously been trending since the Chiefs have won on Sunday or last Sunday. That, you know, when people are talking about the NFL being rigged, I mean, people that are close to the NFL, cover it, are involved with it, you know, of course people are going to be upset about, you know, the accusations and all that. But the number one reason why, and this is a problem with the NFL, and has been for many years, the reason why, or the main reason why some people in the community and fans claim that it's rigged, it's because the inconsistent officiating, and that's just odd. I mean, for one, in the NFC Championship, there was a lot of penalties on the 49ers. Now, credit. Many of them were legitimate, and rightfully so. But I mean, that's point one that people look towards. And the second one is the other game, the AFC Championship. I mean, if the refs didn't call and just let them play out, the game, you know, pretty much throughout, and we had a decisive winner, then I don't think many would have a problem. Of course, people would say that they didn't call penalties, but nonetheless, the fact that the officials were inconsistent, you know, they don't call one a penalty at this time, but at the end, you know, because clear as day there were missed holding calls on the Patrick Mahomes run out of bounds, and the penalty with Joseph Osai. Yes, he hit Patrick Mahomes out of bounds, which ultimately set up Harrison Butker's game-winning field goal. But I mean, they don't call that. I mean, yes, they should have called that offside penalty. There was an outbounds hit on Joe Mixon. Credit that was early in the game, but no call. I mean, the fact that people or refs are inconsistent with calls, it's what ultimately gets people, spectators, critics, whichever you want to say, That's what get him riled up, and that's what lead him to his claim. Nonetheless, I'm excited for the Reed Bowl, and I'm excited for, the Kelsey Bowl. The idea popped up, 10 years ago when, Andy Reid's first season with the Chiefs. They go 9-0, and they're looking pretty good to start the year. And then they fell to 11-5, and there was that. Then you got the Eagles with Chip Kelly doing pretty solid and go 10-6. But the reality is both those teams were one and done in the playoffs that year. Now, almost 10 years later, you got both teams are looking very different, but you have one constant denominator, and that's Andy Reid. And then two brothers that have been there every step of the way since then. Travis Kelce and Jason Kelce. Both have won Super Bowls. Kelce, or Jason, we know in 2018, among that great season for the Eagles, being Tom Brady and Patriots in the Super Bowl. Travis fell suit 2 years later when the Chiefs conquered a very skilled 49ers team and took the trophy home for Arrowhead. So it's a fun dynamic to think about, but yeah, overall it's gonna be an interesting one to think about for the next week and a half or so. I do want to give some light on the Bengals and the 49ers, I have to say, because at the end of the day, the 49ers had a triumphant season. Kyle Shanahan, at the end of the day, 3 NFC Championship appearances in 4 seasons. Or in 5 seasons, yeah. Well, he started in 2017, 2018, nonetheless, 3 NFC Championship appearances in the last 5 seasons, of course last year as well, and then 2019 they went to the Super Bowl, but, credit to them. I mean, yes, wasn't what they expected with that roster, but, with injuries, that's just how it works. Scarcity about it, and ultimately, the injury bug got him at the worst time. So, yeah. But winning 12 straight. Yeah, 12 straight. Riding into this game. Yeah, Brock Purdy, I don't think he's going to win Rookie of the Year just because of the amount he played, but he had a hell of a season for what he was in, and he puts a weird dilemma for Shanahan and John Lynch going in next season, because they invested so much in Trey Lance, but the results are the results, and Brock Purdy steered the ship towards the NFC title game very well, and they were in striking distance, and they lost. Yeah. Joe Burrow and the Bengals. Prior to Sunday, they hadn't lost since Halloween. And they really kept it together. They really kept, despite Jamar Chase's injury, injuries on the O-line. I mean, and they held it together for the most part. But I mean, for them, they had the chance. They had the chance to run down the field and kick a go-ahead field goal, possibly send them to a second straight Super Bowl. Chris Jones was the main reason why that didn't happen. And great player, stepped up at the right time. Yeah. But Joe Burrow and the Bengals proved that these aren't the same old Bengals. These are the Bengals you cannot take lightly. That was not a one-year wonder, flash in the pan, and they were almost back there again, but wasn't to be. And yeah, and I doubt this will be the last time we see Joe Burrow in AFC Championship game. Going back to it, it's strange. I feel like they're almost due to have a championship game in Cincinnati, and that would flip the switch. But with the cancellation of the Bengals-Bills game because of the Damar Hamlin incident, they were messed up for the number one seed conditions. So at the end of the day, but the weird dilemma will be the Joe Burrow contract negotiations and how that will affect the overall roster, because their window is open, but when you're paying your quarterback a certain amount of money and you have a salary cap, it's certainly a question as to what they can do going forward. Now let's talk about some of the interesting coaching changes in the NFL. For one, Sean Payton to Denver Broncos for a first rounder this year and a second rounder next year. For Payton the third for the Saints. I mean, first of all, good for the Saints getting a draft capital for him. And, for Broncos, I mean, look, regardless of the reports, Russell Wilson completely underwhelmed last season. He was the main reason why the majority of us were thrilled going into the last season for the Broncos. Not as Super Bowl contenders, but contenders to show that they're good, back, and able to at least make the playoffs and get near there. And probably win a playoff game. They didn't sniff the playoffs. They didn't sniff them. Because Russ took a step back. Now, credit. First time head coach Nathaniel Hackett. But at the end of the day, it's not all on Hackett, and yes, he got let go. Well, you got Sean Payton, who had one of the best quarterbacks we've ever seen, Drew Brees. And they were able to have tons of success the last number of years in New Orleans. Now, Payton comes to Denver, and we'll see how the results fare for Russell this time. Jeez, I thinking I may have to get a new camera. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. But nonetheless, we'll see for Denver. We'll see. Demeco Ryans returns to Houston as he is now the head coach of the Houston Texans, the former team, where he played 6 seasons in Houston, and coming from San Francisco, anchoring their very good defense for the last 2 seasons. And yeah, good for Demeco. And Texans have been a mess the last couple seasons, so it's going to be a building process for them going forward. So hopefully Demeco can start to churn and get things moving in the right direction for Texans, because they do have some good stuff. And again, I was so surprised how Lovie Smith was let go. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Saturday, Ryan Bader versus Fedor Emelianenko Part 2 for the heavyweight championship of the world. Ryan Bader, returns to heavyweight, of course being both part of the light heavyweight division where he lost his light heavyweight title to now to also being heavyweight champion. He did defend his belt against Chick Congo, but I mean, heavyweight, for Bader, he doesn't have to, especially now when you get older, in your career, you don't want to be suffocating yourself as much for weight. So, good for Bader against Fedor. Still able to hang around even in his mid-40s. And we'll see if he can Bellator Heavyweight Championship to his list. His long resume. We'll see, but certainly be interesting. Kellen Moore. The former stud offense coordinator of the Cowboys, is now the stud offense coordinator for the Chargers, pairing with Justin Herbert. Solid move for the Chargers. Dak to me is the number one problem, I'd say, for that offense. Well, Dak, Zeke, Lingo, Amari Cooper. I mean, look. The Cowboys could very well won that game versus the Niners had a few things went their way. You know, that pick by Trayvon Diggs, if he caught that, if Dak, there were a few plays that could have made better reads, and, you know, they won. I mean, and Kellen Moore has looked at the guy that didn't get it done. Well, if Justin Herbert plays at another MVP level next year, and that gets worse, then there's going to be a bigger egg laid on the face of Cowboys, and hopefully they can work it out, but I mean, I'm a little worried for the Cowboys now. Not sure what to say. Tom Brady. Word is that Tom Brady is now officially retired. He retired for real. Now, and is expected to start his Fox contract, 10-year contract in 2023, this year. You know, I pretty much said it last year, but I'll say it again. You know, I'm a Patriots fan, but, you know, at the end of the day, I forever am grateful for Tom Brady and what he did and has done for the Patriots. And, you know, his legacy, you know, as the GOAT, you know, so many throwing memories, even as a football fan. You cannot tell a future football fan about the NFL or football in general without mentioning Tom Brady's name. You just can't. Because he is the GOAT. He's delivered so many memories. The one memory I will never forget, 28-3, that moment when you're getting embarrassed, you're getting distraught, nothing's going right on the biggest stage. You know, just could have easily mailed it in. but not Tom Brady, not the Patriots. And they rallied back to win in overtime against the Falcons. I mean, that's just one of the moments I'll never forget. Brady. I mean, just a lot to unpack, but yeah. I mean, we saw with Brady this year, he did take a step back. I mean, yes, there was a drastic change in the coaching staff. You know, Todd Bowles, the head coach, Bob Leftwich, now fired. I mean, a lot to unpack. But thank you, Tom, for all the great memories. And yeah, hope for the best. And yeah. Where did I put my... But yeah, anyways, went through a lot, best quick as I could. Anyways, I gotta hit the hay, so yeah, thank you all for joining me. I made Joe Turn Up. See you guys next week. Next week I'll talk about more about the Super Bowl and give my previews of the NFL honors, as well as some basketball, of course. But nonetheless, thank you all. Be safe. I made Joe Turn Love. Get out of here. If you like this video, click that like, leave a thumbs up. Peace.